So the objectives for today's lesson, I can write a compare and contrast essay that has an appropriate topic. I can write using style, voice, and tone appropriate for the purpose and audience. I can organize a compare and contrast essay using either the point by point or block method. I can use transitions as necessary to signal comparisons and contrasts. And then here are the power standards. Write informative, explanatory text to examine and convey complex ideas, concepts, and information. So you're writing an informational text or essay. 2, use appropriate and varied transitions to link the major sections of the text, create cohesion, and clarify the relationships among complex ideas and concepts. And then 3, produce clear and coherent writing in which the development, organization, and style are appropriate to the task, the purpose, and the audience. So you need to make sure that your essay is appropriate to the audience, meaning it's a formal essay. Also that the purpose is correct. So you are comparing and contrasting two things. So the calendar for this week, so we looked at yesterday, and yesterday we we started writing our essay. So LC 9.04, just a reminder that you do not have to turn in LC 9.04. You may put it into the LC Unit 9 discussion board. This is not required. It's not graded. It's just a way for you guys to turn in your essay into a discussion and have a peer look it over so that they can critique it. And you need to do this by the 14th or before so that you can get a critique so that you can turn it in before the 15th, which is the day that it's due. So this session is going to go over Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. Tuesday is LC 9.05, meaning you're continuing to write the essay. Today we're going to focus on the body paragraphs and the conclusion. And then 9.06 is actually a mentor day, which is just an extra writing day. Thursday we're going to start revising your essays, and then Friday we'll be finalizing them so that you can turn them in by the due date, which is the 15th. So we're still in the drafting portion. Like I said, Thursday you're going to start the revision and proofreading process so that you can turn in your final draft, which is the only graded assignment within this unit. It's 300 points, and so it's a big part of the unit because it is the only graded assignment. So the first thing we're going to do is actually look at a body paragraph from the essay that we looked at yesterday as well. This essay explores the differences and similarities between virtual and brick and mortar schools. So as I read this paragraph, I want you to consider these two questions. What is the main idea of this paragraph? So what is the one area of focus that's being explored between these two items? And then what type of structure is being used in this paragraph? Okay. Convenience and school are not always two things that people think of together. A typical public school starts with classes early in the morning and the day ends in the late afternoon with homework once you get home. That is the time you are expected to be there, no exceptions. In an online school setting, the scheduling is far more flexible. Students are able to tailor their day's academic activities to what works for them. MGLVA, an online school, requires students to log in 6 hours and 20 minutes of work time every day. However, the time may be spread out in whatever way works for the student. It could be in the middle of the day or the middle of the night. The exception to this could be a face-to-face class that is required by a student's teacher. Outside of that mandate, the day is flexible. So, what is the main idea of this paragraph, and what type of structure is being used within this paragraph? So, this paragraph, the main idea is the convenience between each of them, each item. So, what is the convenience of brick and mortar schools, and what is the convenience within virtual schools? And the author is using point-by-point method or structure because both items are being compared and contrasted based on, in this one paragraph, based on the idea of convenience. Okay, if it was block method, it would be one of the items is being discussed within the one paragraph, and then the next paragraph, that the other item would then be discussed. So here's the second body paragraph, and just like you did in the first body paragraph, I want you to consider what is the main idea being discussed or examined within this body paragraph, and what type of method or structure is being used. Flexibility comes in another form when you attend an online school learning environment. The atmosphere of conventional schools often requires teachers to have many other responsibilities outside of teaching. They have to monitor hallways between classes, spend time on classroom management, and deal with children who are disruptive during class, as well as spend a good deal of time on their students' well-being. This puts significant restraints on the amount of time that the teachers have to give clear instructions and respond to questions students may have in the classroom. An online school community is much different. During live classes, a teacher has the option to lock out a student's ability to disrupt a class in real time. That is not to say they won't have to address the behavior, but the other students who are in the class will be able to go forward to learn without the disruptive behavior. Both types of schools provide live lectures and learning. So what is the main idea within this paragraph? And what is the type of structure being used within this paragraph? Within this paragraph, the main idea is flexibility. So the author is exploring the flexibility within each type of school. So the flexibility within brick and mortar schools and then within virtual schools within this single paragraph. And so that means that, yet again, the author is using point by point. Make sure that your paragraphs are very cohesive, meaning don't flip between block, method, and point by point. It needs to be the same throughout the entire essay. Before we move on to looking at the conclusion, I wanted to draw your attention to some transition words that you will want to use within your essay. So when you're making comparisons between the two items, you could use words like much like, one way, or in the same way, or similarly, or likewise. When you're showing the differences between the items, you can use words like on the other hand, by contrast, otherwise, however. These words help to signal to the reader that you're making these, you're showing these similarities or showing these differences. It makes it very clear. It makes the essay flow a lot better. So the last thing that we're going to look at is the conclusion. And as I read the conclusion, I simply want you to rate it. So is it a 1? Does it not wrap up the essay very well? Is it a 2? Does it draw the essay to a close, but it needs an extension to a worldview? Or is it a 3? Does it do a good job of drawing the essay to a close, and also does it have a statement that relates the topics to the world? Meaning, does it help the reader to kind of make a connection between him or herself and the topics? Okay. The end result of both varieties of schools will yield a diploma. Both require standard testing, often mandated by the state. Both feature live teaching and core classes. The differences are more evident, more with flexible scheduling, less peer pressure, and more direct communications with the teachers and counselors. As the evolution of technology continues, it is probable that more students will seek alternatives to the schools that they have long been the standard. Online schools may indeed be the alternative that they are looking for. Okay? As you guys are determining if it's a 1, 2, or a 3, I want to draw to your attention 2 things. Okay? Please make sure in your conclusion that you do not introduce new information. This author has introduced the idea of testing that needs to take place in both schools, so this needed to be discussed within the essay. Also, the idea of less peer pressure. This was not really discussed in the essay, but it would have been a great comparison and contrast to make. Okay, and please, please, please make sure that you keep your opinion out of it. The author is kind of walking that fine line between bias and unbiased, meaning she closes her essay with online schools may indeed be the alternative that they are looking for. This is a worldview. It's helping to make the connection between the reader and then the essay, but it seems to be making it clear that the author is a huge proponent of online schooling, which is not the objective of this essay. Okay? But this essay is still a 3 because it does a good job of drawing the essay to a close. It discusses the idea that there are many more differences than there are similarities, and then it does have a worldview concluding sentence where it talks about how standard schooling may kind of be on the back burner or may be moving to the back burner, and virtual schooling may kind of be coming to the forefront of our educational systems. So Yeah, just some reminders as far as the essay writing is concerned. It needs to be 2 to 3 double-spaced pages, Times New Roman. Make sure that you include a correct header with your name, the teacher's name, the course title, and the date. Make sure that you don't include your opinion, no personal pronouns, and make sure that you choose one of the formatting structures, so either block or point by point, to use throughout your entire essay. On Thursday, make sure you come to class with a completed rough draft because we're going to start editing your rough drafts that day. We'll see you on Thursday. There will be office hours. Mrs. Fishel will be holding office hours during Tuesday and or Wednesday, so look for a KML about that, and you'll be able to pop in and ask any questions you have. Talk to you soon.